Welcome to the channel. You're Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. Many of you have been in relationships that have been something that you've wanted to work, that you've wanted to go right for you. You've put the time and the effort in. You've asked God to help you. You've asked God to play His part in the relationship for you. You've had issues rise in the relationship that you weren't sure what you were going to do or how you were going to fix it. Some of you have been triangulated, outside interferences. Sometimes when problems aren't resolved, people will go outside the relationship for soothing, and you've been robbed by this dimension. And this usually ain't your fault. I'm not saying it's not always your fault. It's your business to keep a thorough awareness of what's happening in your relationship and the other person. And if they falter in their integrity towards the agreement and the arrangements you have made, you have to have certain standards. And if the person that you're with wants to fall away from the original agreements and boundaries and exclusive standards that you've made, you need to address that appropriately. You need to look at that for what it is and say, hang on a sec, and ask for some kind of resolution. And if the resolution isn't there, then you need to ask yourself, why? What's happening here? Why aren't we fixing things? In the background there, you can see my first wife from 20 years ago with my daughter and her half sister. They've come over to see the daughter who's come back from Queensland. I'm just in between exercise sessions and I wanted to do this video for you, but you can see how forgiveness works. Some people are able to get through things while others aren't. We're a Christian family by origin, so I'll never be intimate with that woman again, but we're still a group of people, like a tribe, that knows how to function amongst each other in our own separate ways with our boundaries and these types of things. Many of you have been on the end of what I would describe as triangulated narcissism, and we'll turn to the scriptures, Job 30, where Job speaks of his anguish. Now I want you to listen very carefully to what's going on here, because there's definitely some severe triangulation that's happened to Job. But now I am mocked by people younger than I. And I can relate to this because I've been in relationships after my first marriage, to the lady just there sitting on the seat. And I've had 3 of these relationships now where the children have assassinated the relationship by a psychological breakdown within themselves because they had been too enmeshed with their mothers. I can remember a 10-year-old boy strangling his mother, demanding that she show him more attention. I can remember, and that was really bad. I can remember a little 12-year-old boy with a bell in his room. I wasn't in a relationship with this woman, I was actually working at this house. And this boy had a bell in his room, and he'd ring the bell and you'd see the mother scurrying across to the room. They were enmeshed. She made that little boy a little husband. This is what's happening in our communities today. These mothers are making these little boys little husbands, and they're becoming their surrogate wives, and they're disabling their children. They're becoming addicts, passive, they're not finding their way, they get jealous. And if you come along and the mother wants some company, you will be mocked by these younger people. These young men whose fathers are not worthy to run, Job says, with my sheepdogs. Usually the men that these women have chosen to father these children are addicts, alcoholics, unfavourable men. But women are attracted to dysfunction and toxicity, only to regret it when they can't take the abuse that comes with it. And what they produce are bastards and bitches. Their spawn is reflective of the way in which their domestic formation is. If they're addicts, the children become addicts. If they're alcoholics, the children become alcoholics. Even if the parents die young in front of them, you'll notice these people still become addicts because they're domestically formed to do that. That's the domestic formation inside the house. And Job says, I'm mocked by people younger than I, and this could be your experience right now. You could be being mocked by the children of the person that you're with. Could be the golden daughter, could be the golden son, the golden child. It could be the scapegoat, it could be the scapegoat and the golden child. Children do not like outsiders coming into the realm of the DNA. And a lot of these fathers that have been chosen by these women are dogs. They're not even worthy to herd sheep. They're unable to herd sheep. They can't run. Basically what that means is where he says the fathers are not worthy to run with my sheepdogs. They have no guidance. They don't know where to guide their families. And this causes conceitedness and resentment and misguidedness in the spawn. The adults themselves have no proper specific direction. They're slaves to their sin. And they can't find their way out of their sin, and they lead their children into the same sinfulness. Job says in verse 2, a lot of good they are to me, those worn out wretches. These people have a way of wearing you out. They'll run you down, they'll push you to the limits, but they'll keep turning up They'll turn up without resolve. They'll know that there's things that are running you down. You'll ask them for some kind of resolution or solution, but they just don't bring it. They just don't get it. Verse 3, they are gaunt from poverty and hunger. They claw the dry ground in desolate wastelands. And this is how the addicts and alcoholics and medication abusers and recreational drug abusers and sexual addicts end up, because they're slaves to their sin. They work to pay for their sin. They work to pay for the debt that their habits get them into, and the younger people that leech up off them get them into. They go gaunt. I've seen the spirit of death on 2 of the women that I've been with, and I've just gone, nah, I'm not hanging around for that. I've seen the hunger, their hunger for their drugs and alcohol and medications and trouble, their hunger for their enmeshment with their children, their hunger to avoid resolve. They just avoid it. They claw the dry ground in the desolate wastelands of their soul. They claw at the dry ground rather than looking up to the heavens and saying, God help me. They just claw the dry ground in the desolate parts of their soul, the wastelands. They're wasted. They're walking around in the fruit of their addictions. And they're gaunt. It leads to poverty and emotional and spiritual hunger. It's not a joke, viewers. It's real. If this video has helped you, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, Theologist. Bye for now.